The Vince McMahon lawsuit has been resumed. Plus, we have a disappointing WWE Netflix update, and a popular ex-TNA commentator is to return on WWE TV. It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling News right now. So we've seen a 6-month pause in the civil case filed by Janelle Grant, former WWE employee, against Vince McMahon, WWE, and John Laurinaitis. So the lawsuit accuses McMahon and Laurinaitis of abuse, assault, and trafficking during her time working for WWE. These allegations have been denied. It was paused in June on the request of the US Department of Justice to facilitate their ongoing federal criminal investigation into Vince McMahon. We have an update for you today.
Yes, so on Wednesday, the Southern District of New York allowed that stay to expire, which means the civil case can now move forward while the federal investigation remains active. Ann Callis, the lawyer who is heading up Janelle Grant's legal team, issued this statement: "We are pleased that prosecutors for the Southern District of New York have concluded that they can continue their criminal investigation while we bring forward new evidence in our civil case about the exploitation carried out by Janelle Grant's abusers. For the last 6 months, Ms. Grant has patiently waited to hold Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and WWE accountable for the trafficking and abuse she endured at the company on a near daily basis. Her wait is over, and we now look forward to sharing Ms. Grant's story."
Now, at time of recording, we don't have a statement from WWE, McMahon's legal team, or John Laurinaitis or his legal team. When we know more about it, we'll let you know more at cultaholic.com. Now, we are down to, 2 weeks left before the WWE network is shut off. Do you think that when they turn it off, it'll be like when BBC One finished in the 80s and they'll just play Land of Hope and Glory as the time ticks down, and as the continuity announcer goes, "And that is the end of our WWE network programming. Have a safe night and we'll see you never again."
The little
Good
girl
night.
and the clown. Triple H is the little girl.
Triple H is the little girl. That'd be wonderful. We're reaching that point, and there's been some question marks about how Netflix will present the WWE content on January the 1st. However, there's a bit of a disappointing update for those like me who love to rummage through the WWE archives.
Essentially, watch this stuff while you can. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer addressed what to expect from WWE content-wise when it does make the move to Netflix. He said the answer is not much. There'll be all the current shows, obviously. They'll be on every single week. This is international, not United States, which will only be Raw. All the pay-per-views, everything is going to Netflix. As far as your archives, and this is the important bit, there will be some, but very little. He continues to say when everything starts on January the 1st, they're going to have roughly 40 pay-per-views, just intermittent, some recent, some from years ago. There'll be no WCW, it's all WWE. No Mid-Atlantic, no Mid-South, no World Class, none of that tape library stuff. People didn't really watch a lot of it on the network, so that's what happened. There'll be old episodes, some old episodes of NXT, Raw, and SmackDown. And then he later said as well that there's not going to be any non-WWE stuff on there for the first 4 or 5 months. And then one would assume that they're going to sort of drip feed that stuff onto the network if the interest is there. Honestly, I can see them never adding like the Mid-South or the World Class stuff to be. It might take them a while to get WCW on there if they do at all.
And that's a shame because I kind of get it as well, because it's going to be expensive bandwidth-wise to run this, as the network always was. And you want to justify all these things that are on there, even though Netflix keep figures and ratings very tight to their chest. Mm-hmm. They're going to be selective about what goes on there. And I think they're going to focus on putting all WWE stuff on there. I think now you can search for random WWE events on the network. It says coming January the 1st. I think Stomping Grounds comes up on there very randomly. I think In Your House comes up on there as well as like a library. ECW December to Dismember comes up on there.
Not proper ECW.
It's not proper ECW, is it? It's that reincarnated version that they did that back in 06.
It is disappointing. It really is disappointing. And hopefully they find a way to make this stuff accessible to people, because it's an important part of wrestling history, all this stuff. It's like WWE obviously isn't the be-all, end-all. And the reason that WWE, where they are today, is because of lots and lots of other companies and interact. It's a disappointing thing. So watch it while you can.
I could see them maybe utilising that WWE Vault YouTube channel. That's come into its own more over the last few months.
It's so good.
They just put the entire Paul Heyman documentary on that YouTube channel.
Yep.
in its entirety. And then they put like random episodes of WCW Saturday Night on there.
Yeah, the Punk documentary's on there as well.
Yeah.
They've got obscure dark matches which have never been shown before. So I agree that they're going to be using that. It's growing in subscribers massively. And you know what? The ad revenue from that sort of stuff is going to be pretty decent given the numbers that they're doing. So it financially, I don't think it's a bad shout as well. If Netflix don't want the entire library, or WWE don't want to put the entire library with all the WCW, ECW, all the stuff that they own, then I hope they do find a way of getting it. But it's going to be a bit of a wait, essentially.
Yeah, I think should they maybe put, because obviously there's that great Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels documentary they did a few years ago where it's like a meeting with those two and they talk about all their issues in the past and they talk about the Montreal screw job. I think if they put that on there, we should copyright strike them.
What, the screw?
Because we got screwed on there.
Yeah,
Go
right.
watch that, you cowards. I think we should copyright strike them.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind,
Let's
Tom.
do that.
We'll definitely do that.
I was going to bring it up in the end of year meeting, but I think we should copyright strike anything they do that we're already doing. Bronson Reed flavoured news. He did that big old dive off the steel cage at War Games, and he's written himself off for the rest of the year. We have an update on him, don't we?
Yes, he has now undergone surgery on his foot. Reed shared a picture of himself giving the thumbs up from his hospital bed from Birmingham. The greatest city in Alabama. I didn't mean to be silly.
The greatest silly in Alabama.
With the caption, "On the road to flip sugar up." Speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, though, Alvarez said, "The only thing that I heard about Bronson's surgery is it was one of those things where it was more complicated than they thought when they went in there, but apparently they did get it done and he's on the road to recovery. We don't know if that's going to affect the recovery time. He's essentially been written off of WrestleMania at this point. It looks unlikely. He's hoping for a May/June return to the company, but hopefully that doesn't mean he's going to be off longer if it was a more complicated procedure than they initially thought."
If you're going to that December 26th Madison Square Garden show, it was going to be Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed that night, but I believe Dominic Mysterio's now been drafted in to replace him in that match. So it's Seth versus Dom.
Nice.
Madison Square Garden, that'd be a fun match anyway. Wouldn't it? That'd be a fun time.
Yeah, for
We'll have a
sure.
good time.
It's just so cool that like Dom he's become a real go-to guy. He's so trusted. He's just the best. Bronson, get well soon.
Yeah.
Mate. Sorry. I love Dominic
He's
Mysterio.
the best. Sod off, Bronson. No, don't sod off. We love you. We'll end on this. This is a lovely bit of TNA flavoured news. Oh, yeah, spoiler, by the way. So WWE are doing a brand new show called WWE LFG, which is going to be a reality show, which is going to give you like, it's kind of Tough Enough-esque in its delivery. And they were taping some bits for it before NXT last night. We had the match with Evander Holyfield's son, Elijah Holyfield, who is still named Elijah Holyfield. He's not being called Derek Biscuits like they normally do with NXT guys coming up with a generational wrestling family history, or boxing family history in this case. But we had his match, but some a commentary name and a voice, which has made me very happy today.
Too right. According to spoilers that have emerged, Jeremy Borash is back behind the commentary table. He was joined by NXT's Vic Joseph on comms, and it's just the best. He's fantastic. As a TNA, watching TNA on Challenge TV back in the day, just like one of the voices of TNA, and he was with that company for an awful long time. You know what? He was one of the first famous people that I ever spoke to, and I got a job at What Culture. They set us up. Angle was with TNA at the time. And they set us up with an interview with Kurt Angle, went to his hotel room in London when they were over doing PR stuff. And I remember thinking, they're going to put us in contact with some PR person. And my boss at the time just forwarded me this email, and it was something to the effect of like j.borash@tnawrestling.com. I was like, wait, I've got an email. Jeremy Borash. And then when we get there, Borash opens the door and says, "Hi, guy." Starstruck.
What year was that? Can you remember?
2015, that would have been. Tail end of 2015.
Because I remember going to a TNA media event randomly at a church, I think in Nottingham, in 2011.
Of course
it was. Because I did it, I think a mate of mine was going, and I was going as his +1, because I had no sway in the business at that point. And Jeremy Borash was there, and it was a bit of starstruck meeting, having a photo with Jeremy Borash.
Yeah.
I've got the photo, flash it up, there we are, it's me and Jeremy Borash.
His commentary work is amazing.
He's great.
He's great, and it's so good. You know what, I really hope they use him more. Even if it's on some of like the lesser shows, and I'm not talking about NXT.
proved he can do the style because in 2020 he did 205 Live.
He did, didn't I?
He
I
popped
totally
up,
forgot about that.
Yeah, he popped up doing that. So he can do that WWE style. But now the game has changed, figuratively, literally speaking. Let Borash breathe a bit more.
He was very heavily involved in British boot camp back in the day, wasn't he, as well?
Indeed.
And this is sort of shades of that as well, with the Tough Enough sort of thing going on.
Makes sense to have him on this as well because he's listed as an executive producer of WWE LFG. So he's going to be very hands-on with the production of this one. So I guess putting him on commentary is a good way of him being properly hands-on with it as well.
Lovely man. Lovely man.
This week, Adam Pacitti got hands-on with Sir Stromming, which is the world's smelliest fish, and it has been described by my wife as the most disgusting video that Cultaholic have ever put out.
Yeah, that's saying something,
That
isn't
is
it? Considering the
saying
things that have been poured all over me, I've been submerged in, the fish is what did it.
Yeah, and if you want to see it, brace yourself. It's at patreon.com/Cultaholic.
I've drank horse spunk. What's your...
Maybe
Fish is too much. It was awful. It was
you
so
didn't
bad.
retch at the horse spunk,
No, well,
which
no, I'm used to
raises
it.
some questions.
What am I, 5 a day?
5 a day. For the latest wrestling news at any time, you can check out cultaholic.com. Stay safe. Love you. Bye. Get it? 5 a day.
Yeah,
like a horse.
good, yeah.
I'm very funny.